Welcome to the Psychedelic Integration Podcast. I'm Sinclair Fleetwood, a ceremonialist, plant medicine guide, and psychedelic integration coach, and I help soul seekers create lasting transformation so you can get unstuck, embody your power, and be authentic AF, all with plant medicine as your guide. If you're ready to go beyond visuals and get a vision for your life, if you know the end of your ceremony is just the beginning of your expansion, then this show is for you. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome. Hey family, I'm Sinclair. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. One of the things I hear the most often from people on this path is how tired they are of being misunderstood, not being seen, not being connected, feeling like they can't find their people, missing their tribe, and really being out there on this cosmic spiritual seeker journey with plant medicine and psychedelics and spirituality, and not feeling like they have a family or a community to connect with on this path. And because of that, I created Nest. Nest is my group integration membership program. We meet once a week on Zoom at 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we join together to do the work of the real shit that happens in your daily life that is brought up by turning on the lights with plant medicine. So this isn't an integration circle. This is a group coaching. So that's very different, right? So inside of a group coaching program, so you are getting coached, you are holding space, you are witnessing, you get to hear other people getting coached. It's a really beautiful experience if you haven't ever tried it. It's very similar to how I do my ceremonies inside of my retreats, where you get to come and sit and have a conversation with me and with yourself and with spirit and find out what's really going on in there and see if you can unravel and unfurl a little bit more and understand yourself a little bit more and change the way that you're thinking and maybe change some beliefs or some values that are no longer serving you, that no longer feel true. There's so much work that can happen inside of these containers. And I love the group experience because it really feels like a family. We have a very active Telegram group where everyone is connecting and offering support to each other and just being friends and getting acquainted and getting to know other people who are on the same path as you, even if they don't live in the same city as you. So if you're interested, go to my website, sinclairfleetwood.com/nest. Learn about how you can sign up. It's a monthly membership, so there's no commitment. It's super easy, super fun, and a very high value for getting the help you need from me. We are also only about 6 weeks away from our next resonance retreat. July 4th to 7th. We have one coming up in September, and that is all the events that we have for this year. And we have about 4 spots left in July. So if you are thinking about joining us, please reach out. You can go to my website, sinclairfleetwood.com, click on events, schedule a discovery call with me so we can get to know each other, and I can give you all the details, availability, pricing, and make sure it's a good fit. So if you hang around with any kind of plant medicine person for any maybe 5 minutes of time or less, you will probably hear the phrase, well, the medicine told me this, or the medicine gave me a message, or ayahuasca said this to me, or I heard this from the medicine, or spirit told me this. And this is a very common way of talking about the experiences that we have with plant medicine and psychedelics. I think I picked this up from my teachers when I was working in the industry early on. It was a very common phrase that we used. The medicine told me, the medicine told me. And the medicine talks to us, right? It tells us stuff. This is true. And I have been getting very curious about this phrase and what this means to people. I know what it means to me. But I think it's really important to look at this in yourself if you're working with psychedelics and you're working with integration. Most people who are working with these medicines for any period of time receive profound insights, right? We have big journeys, we have big understandings, new consciousness comes to our awareness, and we often are attributing that to the medicine told me, or the medicine is speaking to me, right? And our experience, your experience with plant medicine is sacred and valid, and the medicine is a consciousness. moving through us. So it's a plant, it's alive, and it's a magical plant. It's an ancient plant. When I talk about the mushrooms, I talk about the mycelium having, a network across the entire earth and having been here for such a long time, and how old and sacred they are, and how they've been communicating and gathering wisdom from the earth for such a long time. And we often talk about these medicines having spirits. Ayahuasca is the grandmother, the feminine, the medicine of the jungle. You can feel the energy of her vibration where she grows, the soil, the Amazon. You can feel her vibe, her serpent vibes when you take her in your body, and you can feel the vibrant Andean sunlight of the San Pedro cactus. You can feel the energy of the people, of the ancestors climbing mountains with this cactus. So these spirits, the grandfather, the peyote, the great grandfather, the mushrooms, the niños santos, the sacred children, sainted children, they all have spirits, right? You can feel this in their energy. And if you believe in, the biological fact that everything is vibration, and you start to speak energy and you start to learn how energy works, it makes sense that you would feel this connection and feel this consciousness transfer to you from the medicines, right? I say this all the time, the medicine told me, because I get lots of insights and messages from these medicines. And sometimes the grandmother is very stern with me, or the grandfather is very stern with me and is like, pay attention, and it can help us build our relationship to personify this consciousness, because it's so vast and so big and so ancient and so powerful and so mysterious and unknown. It helps us to think about it this way. The medicine told me. The medicine is speaking to me. My guides are speaking to me. We do it with other things, not just the medicine. Spirit told me this. I say that all the time, because for me, that language is the way that I understand getting a download, or getting an understanding, or a new realization, or a new, like an up-leveled consciousness. Something unconscious is coming to the surface. And I often attribute that to two things: my connection with Earth, Mother Earth. So for me, that is spirit incarnate. That is the physical representation of all that is Earth. The fact that this Earth exists is like, okay, I'm getting lots of wisdom from her all the time. And she is a mother. She has given birth to everything that exists. So I think about her as a feminine energy. And Father Sky, the star families, like, this is not a new thing that we do to feel the energy of everything around us, and attach a personality to it. This is how we build the relationship with the medicine, right? Throughout history, in all of the indigenous cultures, there are different personifications, all the way back to like Greek myth, putting these things in symbols and ways that we can understand them so they make sense to the human brain and to our own systems. So the medicine told me is a valid thing to say, right? It's a valid thing to believe. It's okay to believe and to engage and receive messages from the medicine, from the consciousness, from the grandmother. However you think about it is good and valid and sacred and beautiful, right? However, rigidly attaching to the medicine told me as an absolute truth that is unchangeable and unwavering and immovable is a very quick path to bypass your own responsibility, your own inner wisdom, your own discernment. And it's kind of a problem in this work, because especially when we are coming into relationship with medicines. So to have integrative experiences, we're not just receiving messages blindly and taking that at 100% truth and this is a fact forever. In fact, the medicine is actively teaching us not to do it like that. We're here to relate to our new understanding, to contemplate our new consciousness that we receive through these journeys, through the connection with the whatever it is. We don't know what it is. we're here to be curious. We're here to be humble and have humility, right? And recognize that just because we learned something and understood something once doesn't mean that that's the end of the story forever, right? And it's also a path to trust yourself and trust your own inner knowing and your own intuition and your own understanding. And the problem that I'm seeing with this that is concerning to me is this outsourcing of responsibility and the outsourcing of blindly following something that comes from a place that you are looking as something outside of you. A lot of people are taking these medicines and still believing in the construct that spirit is outside of you, God is outside of you, that you are separate from all that is. So you're taking this medicine, the medicine is coming in. It's telling you something that it has access to know that you don't know. And I strongly disagree that that's how it works. I believe the medicine opens us deeper. It opens deeper parts of yourself, deeper access to spirit, which is in you already. It is you. And invites you to mull it over. It's like, here's something for you to contemplate. Here's something for you to think about, to understand, to feel. Here is this. The struggle that we're having on this path is between surrender and sovereignty, between trusting the mystery of the path and the medicines and trusting ourselves, and somehow thinking that those are different things, right? So a lot of people are coming in to this work and they're having a ceremony, they're having a retreat, something's happening, and they feel so different than normal life. They have an altered state experience. The portal to the God within is opened. And because it feels so unfamiliar, it can't possibly be you or an expression of you or your highest self or your own connection to spirit. It has to be the medicine. And so then you're outsourcing your authority to the medicine, believing that something that is shown to you is infallible. So then that is a belief that gets created. And then you struggle with conflicting messages from different ceremonies or different medicines. I personally believe that these medicines are conscious. They are consciousness having an experience that enhances their consciousness through you. So every time someone takes a medicine, you're having an experience with it. It's having an experience with you. And it is growing its own infinite wisdom through you by being digested and moving through you. It's learning, right? It's learning through you. You're learning through it. If you have a retreat with multiple ceremonies, I have had this happen to me for years where the medicines know how many ceremonies I'm going to have with medicine, without medicine. Like, there is a process that is happening between me and spirit, and everything being spirit, not just the medicine ceremony itself. But these medicines know that, okay, I'm having ayahuasca, and then in a couple of days I'm having San Pedro, and I'm having a sweat lodge, and I'm having all this, and everything is moving. And it's like one piece of the puzzle at a time. If I just took the one piece of the puzzle from one ceremony, I would really be doing myself a huge disservice, because oftentimes there's contradictory information, or this was just one piece of a huge whole that I can't see all the pieces to. So when I stopped looking at it as this linear, black and white, masculine, like hyper-masculine way of thinking about it, the medicine told me this, and this is what's happened, and started looking at it as always just a stop on the river, just a side stop of like, here's something you need to know, here's a little tool, put this in your pocket. Maybe you don't understand it right now, that's fine. You don't need to. But often you'll get conflicting messages because there's not one ultimate truth that you need to learn. There's nuances and evolutions. And maybe at one point in your medicine work, you were at a place to receive this much information. And then some time goes on. You do some integrating, you do some changing, you do some work on yourself, you do some understanding. You clear out some ways of like programming and stuff that doesn't belong. And then you're more aligned. And then that same message that you got, a few months or a few years ago has a completely different vibe now. You understand it in a deeper way because you have changed. It was a seed that grew something else in you. So holding on to your original understanding of something forever is a really dangerous thing to do with these plants. It can also, this literal idea that the medicine is telling you something and it's very literal and specific and unchangeable, can create shame. It can create confusion. It can make you feel like you're doing it wrong. I see this all the time. I'm doing it wrong. Well, the medicine told me this. The medicine told me that it was going to be like this. The medicine gave me, a vision of the future, and this is how it is. And when your insights that you are receiving in your ceremonies don't align with your lived experience, you feel like it's not working for you. There's something wrong with you. You did it wrong. You didn't follow the message or something. And I'm here to tell you all of that is bullshit. Please let that go. Because when you hold on to this rigid idea of the medicine told me, you are missing the deeper invitation to co-create with the medicine, to evolve together, to let the medicine grow you, to let it heal you and change you, not just to passively receive instructions from it. And I actually think this is like a deeper problem, and why we do it like this is because our hyper masculine understanding, hierarchical understanding of life, because we have destroyed the feminine. Most people don't have feminine thinking. Everyone who comes from the West mostly is trained and programmed to think in a hypermasculine way with lots of structure and rules and rigid hard lines and angles and black and white, yes or no, binary, that's it, right? And so we're really out of balance in the masculine, in the patriarchal society that we live in. And this way of thinking will create a heavy reliance on receiving messages and deciding that they're true and not being able to let go of the original interpretation because you're afraid that you'll do it wrong otherwise, right? So how does this connect to earth wisdom, to the feminine, to the spiritual path? Like the earth teaches us that everything is in relation, right? We are relational. We are in relationship. We are in relation with the plants. We're in relation with other humans. We're in relation with spirits, beings, and, whoever, energies. We're in relation with everything on earth. And we're always communicating in a dynamic exchange, right? There is a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And knowledge is collecting downloads. The medicine told me. I'm going to put that here. The medicine told me this. The medicine told me this. The medicine told me this. And I'm just going to take that message and get it and put it in my basket and carry that with me. Here it is, right here, outside of me, over here. The medicine told me. I have a basket full of the medicine told me. What I believe is the true integrative path of power and heart wisdom is embodiment. So that means receiving and grounding and collaborating with your insights, collaborating with the messages and the downloads in your daily life, and using discernment and intuition and activating all of the power that you have been given from spirit directly, from earth directly, by being alive in a living everyday experience, just like our ancestors did. Our ancestors knew how to vision. They knew how to dream. They understood the living experience of being in relationship, in right relationship. And we talk about that a lot, being in right relationship. Being in right relationship is being in clear, open, heart-centered, connected community in love. It's the vibration of love with other things, with yourself, with your family, with your job, being in the right purpose, being in the right action, being in right relationship with the water, with the trees, with the plants, being in right relationship with the way that you manage your finances, the way that you manage your life, the way that you communicate in your relationships, being in right relationship, right? This is being in Aini. I talk about this in other episodes. Aini is the Quechua word for sacred reciprocity. So it's a way that we are always staying in the circle of life and staying in this beautiful understanding that everything is communicating, connected, everything is flowing, everything is energetically intertwined, and we're not separate from that. When we take the medicine out and put it somewhere on this pedestal above us, and it's like, the medicine told me this, and I have to follow this straight line like the medicine told me, we are really missing out on how these plants actually work, because they do have deep things to tell us. They have very serious things to share with us. They are opening a door inside of us to access everything that exists in our own lifetime, in our own experience, in our own body, and beyond, everywhere, because consciousness is infinite, and we are all expressions of consciousness experiencing itself in different bodies, different beings, different dimensions. It's so important to understand that what the medicine is telling you, what the medicine is doing, is it's a mirror. It's showing you to you. So everything that it's showing you is something inside of you that needs your attention. It needs your greater willingness. It needs your softness. It needs your nurturing. It needs your contemplation. It needs your surrender. It needs your ability to trust your intuition and to lean into the resonance of your heart, right? The medicines aren't giving us commandments. They're giving us invitations. And it's our job to honor these messages and to grow into trust, to trust yourself, to trust the process, and to trust your relationship with the medicine while staying rooted in your own wisdom. Yeah. So a lot of times when we start on this path, we are real jazzed up. We are excited. We are getting swept away in the spiritual flashy magic of how it feels to finally find something that makes sense to you. It comes with a lot of language, new language for most people. It comes with unlearning so many things and coming to the edge of realizing, like, maybe the way that I'm thinking and the way that I'm doing and what I believe is not correct, and giving yourself permission to even question that. There's a lot going on. And if you come into a tradition, you will be exposed to all these different ways, songs, ways of thinking that maybe you've never heard of before. Maybe you start to look at the earth in a different way. You start to hear people praying. You start to hear people talking in a certain way about these medicines and the way that they work and all the healing that has happened for that person or their group or their family or their community. And it's very easy to get swept away into the feel-goodness of it because it feels really, really good. And this happened to me when I first started working with ayahuasca. I went to a retreat seeking to heal my trauma and not start drinking again. I was sober. I wanted to stay sober. And I was like, I'm going to go do some deep work. I know there's something deep in here that I need to look at. I need to feel. I need to figure out what's going on inside of me. And I went to a place where everyone was doing that. There was a whole group of people at this retreat who were like, I want to heal my shit and I'm going to look at my darkness and I'm going to share about it. I'm going to talk about it. And then there were a whole group of volunteers of people who had been doing it for months, and they were really cool and happy and excited. And they had a culture, they had a language, they had it was a crew, it was a family. And the medicine family was so powerful and had, 25 years of working with these medicines behind them and sang these amazing, beautiful songs that felt so true to my heart. And a lot changed for me in a really quick amount of time. And it was really uncomfortable and it was really painful and it was euphoric and exciting and it felt so true and it felt so real and so big. And it kind of it blew out a lot of stuff that I had been carrying for a long time that I did not really believe. And I had always kind of been like, something's missing, And that's the story of a lot of people. My story's not really very unique. I went to a retreat. It blew me up, blew me open. It lit me up and it felt really, really good. And then things started happening, synchronicity started happening, opportunities started happening. And I ended up going to volunteer there and I ended up getting a job there. And I just kept saying yes. I'm like, this feels good. This feels good. This feels good. And I stopped kind of stopping myself. But you're supposed to have a job. Like you should be in the US finding a place to live and getting a job. And my heart didn't want to do that. And my brain didn't really want to do it either. And I started to peel away the program of you have to work 40 hours a week and sit in front of a computer and pay rent and have a car and all this stuff. I just slowly let go over and over and over and over of all these things that weren't true. There were many times in that journey where I got deep messages from the medicine. I met a partner there who I was 100% certain was my soulmate for life. And at the time, that was true, and I was shown in so many different ways that were undeniable that this was my person. And so I said yes to that. And my understanding of what that meant was, this is my happily ever after. This is my knight in shining armor. This is my soulmate and this is my guy and he's going to be with me for the rest of my life. And all right, cool. That's all done. Found him. Awesome. And that was not what the messages from the medicine were telling me. I asked for a partner. I called him in. I wanted someone to evolve with. And that's what I got. And that person, that brother, that man is a soulmate for life. Do we live together? No. Are we in romantic relationship? No. I haven't seen him in months and months. I hope he's doing super good. Sending blessings on your life. And it wasn't what I thought. And I held on to that message of this is your soulmate. But the medicine told me for such a long time, way past when I should have been able to change my mind and move forward and see that we were soulmates, but not in the way that I thought. And that my definition of partnership and relationship had radically changed. And that this person was put into my life to let love expand me and grow me and break apart the tiny little cage that I had in myself that I thought was love, so I could feel true love from friends, from partners, from all the people in my life that I was blessed to spend time with. There's a deep discomfort in realizing that not all of the messages that you get are literal or eternal. It was really hard for me to say, to admit that I had misread the message. But that's not really what happened. It taught me that the messages are not literal or eternal, that they change and evolve and often are only a piece. The best way I can describe it is how it feels is sometimes you get a message from the medicine and it's like Dorothy and Oz. You're on the bike and you're riding with Toto and it's black and white. You're in the tornado. Ah! And you get, you're seeing things fly by and it's oh, there's the house and there's the, the teacher and there's Auntie M and she's having all these visions or whatever, stuff is flying by her. And that's all she sees. She's in the tornado. She's just in her process. And then she lands in Oz and she opens her eyes and she walks through the door and everything's in color. That's the integration piece. The in color part comes from integrating. The message is just the seed, right? And sometimes it gives us a seed in a way that we need so that we do exactly and think exactly and feel exactly the way that we need to process and move and understand and evolve this understanding in ourselves in exactly the way that we need it. And we don't get all the information. You're on a need to know basis and you don't need to know. And the medicine is you don't need to know. You get to know this and that's all you get to know. And then you're going to do your part in your integrated work. And then I'll give you a little more and a little more. And things change. And in order to learn that, I had to go through this very painful process where I was like holding on to a relationship that was way past its expiration for a very long time before I would live in the reality of what the medicine relationship is for me. And it was a really crucial lesson that I received of, yeah, the medicine is showing you something, but you get to choose. You decide what the story is. You choose the most beneficial path. You get to question, and you have to overcome the fear of questioning, because you can doubt the message. Sometimes the message doesn't resonate with you. And for me, if there are doubts about what I have seen or felt or experienced, it's often because there is some process happening where it's just, like I said, one of the components, one of the pieces, one of the parts, one of the acts, whatever. And I need to sit with it longer. I need to let it unfold. I need to ride the wave. I need to feel whatever emotion is there that is stuck inside me. That's like, okay, this is true. When I was in Ecuador, I had a really difficult journey with San Pedro. That was an ego death experience for me. So it was showing me some belief that I had that was very painful and invited me to feel the death of that belief and to go all the way as far as I could go away from this belief, because I needed to do that in order to let it go and put it to rest and see what it would be like. And sometimes that's what happens. Here is a truth. And this happens to people all the time. Like maybe somebody will die in their journey, or they'll have the experience of like, I need to leave my partner. And then they go through the entire process of feeling into that and seeing what it is and getting to the end and then realizing like, okay, that I needed to let go of that so that I could move through it and make the heartfelt decision from a place of non-attachment, right? So sometimes we're so attached to something, we are so blinded by our story and our belief system about whatever the thing is, that we have to have it ripped out from under us. And that can be really uncomfortable and scary, and often is a multi-part process that doesn't just get solved in one sitting, because the medicine is not a sitcom. You're not a sitcom character. It's not going to be resolved in 30 minutes, I'm sorry to tell you. Another way that this kind of shows up and is difficult is how relying on outsourcing to the medicine told me, the medicine said so, is to avoid personal responsibility and just being like, oh, well, the medicine told me, I have known people who have done a lot of plant medicine and have used it in ways to justify all kinds of really ugly, unethical, unscrupulous behavior. People who abuse their power, facilitators who are doing all kinds of shady, scoundrelly kind of stuff because the medicine told them. Like, if people who have a relationship with it, who are using it for dark ways can do that, then there is no way that every message that comes through these medicines is 100% true forever, because it's being filtered by the lens of you. And people are using these medicines in lots of nefarious ways. It's true. And they can blame it on, well, the medicine guided me to do this. The medicine told me this. And that's fine. You get to decide how to do this in a heart-centered, ethical way, full of integrity. And that's why I talk about integrity a lot, is because there's no manual for this. It's like everybody's own understanding. And I have no judgment of those people. It's like, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe the medicine did tell them that. I have no idea. It doesn't work like that in me. All I can do is share about my understanding of it and how it has worked in me, because it has been overly beneficial, benevolent, loving, kind, generous, and soft and sweet, and improved my life over and over and over and over. So I have no reason to doubt that the medicine is guiding me in a good way. and guiding me in a good way to my own power, my own sovereignty, and my own understanding. And I trust my intuition. And plant medicine helped me hone that trust. It helped me open my intuition. It helped me trust my body. It helped me be embodied. So it's our partner. We're in relation with it, right? The plant medicine opens a dialogue. So many people are experiencing plant medicine as a monologue. It's telling you blah, 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 blah. It's saying all kinds of stuff, but it's not a monologue. It's a dialogue. It's a conversation. It's reflecting your subconscious, your ancestral patterns, your trauma, your understanding of what's going on inside of you and what's going on inside of the collective. So lots of people who take these plants are very sensitive energetically, emotionally, mentally. They are open, they're empathic, and they are receiving things that maybe are not theirs. And that's one of the ways that the medicine helps us too, is teaching us about boundaries and teaching us how to discern what's mine and what's not mine. And I have heard people talking about healing things for other people and, carrying all the trauma of their ancestors. And, that is something that is unique to each person, how they believe. And each person's belief is it's valid. I do not believe that you can do healing for other people, because I don't believe that that's how the karmic consciousness system of the universal karma or our samskara, or whatever you want to call it, I don't believe that any soul can take on anything for another soul. I believe that we all have our own purpose, our own journey, our own path. And while we can choose people in our lifetimes to have soul contracts with and to learn things with, to help transform each other, we are all on our own mission. We are all on our own individuated soul mission as a spirit warrior of consciousness, right? And so I don't like this idea of, I'm going to take this for you and heal it for you and now you're healed. Because when you say that, well, first of all, it's kind of arrogant that we could take someone's issues and heal them, especially without that person's permission. There are many indigenous cultures where you would absolutely not do something like that without the person's permission. In some of the Peruvian cultures, you have to ask their permission to pray. Like, you can't pray for people without their permission, because it requires consent, and consent is really important. There are things that we can carry together. You can transform your part of it, right? Ancestral trauma is one of these things. So we're handing down these traumas through the ancestral lines. And many people in this time are waking up and becoming empowered and deciding, this stops with me. And we are healing it for ourselves. We are healing it in the past for our ancestors, but inside of our DNA is them. We're carrying their specific experiences, their shadows, their medicine, their gifts, and we carry the trauma from the ancestors. We're also carrying them in us. So when it is healed in us, the part of us that comes from them is the one that's healing it. We're the alchemizers. We're the ones that are here, and our presence in combination with theirs is what creates the healing. So in that way, I think of it like you can heal your ancestral trauma. It can be you to be the one in your family that says, no more, this ends with me. I have done this many times. And I work with people who are doing this all the time. And do you see the difference? How that's not the same as saying, oh, I healed this for my brother, and I healed this for my mom, and I healed this for my dad. And so now they don't have to because I took it on. And it's really it's like a wounded feminine energy of believing that we can fix things for other people and heal things for other people. And, well, they're not going to do it right, so I'm going to do it for them. Hardcore wounded feminine. What we want to move out of that idea and that thinking is to put boundaries in place. And plant medicine teaches you how to put boundaries in place with yourself, boundaries in place with the other, with relationship, with your family, with the people around you in the ceremony who are having all kinds of processes that don't belong to you. Medicine teaches you how to maintain boundaries energetically inside of you and to take your own personal responsibility and your own sovereignty and do the work that's yours to do. Not trying to take up other people's work. That's not yours. So I dislike when we try to take things that don't belong to us, because your work that you came to do for you is yours, and that is all you need to do. And if everyone would do that, we would be in a much different society, right? What we hear from the medicine is going to be determined a lot by our culture, our belief system, our trauma, all of the things that we're working with at the time when we are sitting with this medicine. If you are not in a prepared, healthy, ready state to go deep into yourself, you may go in and you may not be able to handle what comes through. And your nervous system may get really activated, and you may be throwing up all kinds of walls and stories and all kinds of stuff to protect yourself. So that is something to think about as well. How do the elders let us know what to do? Like, what is the ancestral wisdom around receiving messages from the medicine? Indigenous teachers often emphasize walking with visions, like testing them against your lived experience, waiting, letting something evolve and percolate and simmer with you, and consulting elders, consulting support, asking for help, getting support from a coach. We're not meant to do this alone. And if you're out there by yourself holding on to, one or two ceremonies that you have over, years, it's really hard because you're not around other people that are doing this. So it's difficult to transform what's happening inside of you and understand what's happening inside of you and let it breathe, right? We want to let it breathe. That's really what nature teaches us too. We live in cycles. Nature lives in cycles. And some of the insights that we get are seeds, and they need to be planted and they need to grow. And we don't need to do anything with them for a while. Others are things that are falling away. It's like, oh wow, I used to believe this, and the medicine showed me this back in the day, and now I see it was just a part of something else. And I like to think about it as like these old visions, or the ones that are incomplete in their wholeness, they're just in a different season. Maybe they're germinating, maybe they're not ready for harvest, maybe they're not blooming yet, or maybe they have bloomed and they've died. And it's a circle, right? So every message that we receive has a cycle. It has a season. It has life cycles. And at some point, it's going to evolve, and you're going to let it be compost and fertilizer for the next thing, right? So if we start to think about it as a circle instead of an off-on or a yes-no, or it's this way or that way, everything changes, right? Everything starts to feel softer and more alive in you right now. Because it doesn't really matter what happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 10 years ago. The medicine told you something. That knowledge, that seed got planted in you, and it moved in you, and it lived in you. And now it's expressing in another way. And that's always true, even if the belief is still similar, So how do you turn this confusion around relating with the medicine to a deep, trusting, loving, right relationship? One of my favorite practices with the medicine is dialoguing with it, talking with it, having a conversation with it. Does this feel true in your body? Does it feel true in your life? What vibration is this message calling forth? How something feels for me is really powerful and important, and it's always a wave. There's never okay, this feeling that's arrived right now is the correct feeling, because it's just one part of the wave. And I like to be in dialogue with how I'm feeling in my body, how I'm feeling in my emotions. What are my thought processes around this? Am I trying to convince myself of something? Am I creating some kind of dramatic, all over the place story about something? Do I need to create some long backstory that doesn't make any sense for this to be true? How attached am I to this being true or not? What feels better? This is true, period, or this is just one part. This is just one step on the journey, which is eternal. I like the eternal journey. It takes the pressure off me. I don't like feeling like urgency or that something is so important that you can do it wrong or make a wrong decision or have a wrong understanding. How you understand something is right for where you are, because that's what's happening. I always say you can't do it wrong, and that goes for this too. We come to this understanding of the medicine told me because we're meant to break out of it. It's the structure that we're meant to get us out of the structure, as my Gene Key says. Our work is to embody the balance, to trust the story unfolding and know that we can't do it wrong and everything is fine. And if you don't have an understanding of something or a belief in something that feels good in you, that the medicine told you something that doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel resonant in you, wait, because it's probably not the whole picture. It's there to be in you, to grow and bloom and change, and to teach you how to trust the mystery, to trust the universe, and to trust your sovereignty because you are the same. To trust your own power and to trust your intuition because you are the same. Spirit and you are the same. And when we are thinking about spirit as something outside of us, something above us, something at a higher level than us, we are embodying hierarchical thinking. And spirit is not in hierarchy, it's in everything. There is no hierarchy in spirit. There's no comparison or competition in spirit. It just is, period, right? So part of this process is helping us break these really fundamental ideas and beliefs and structures that we have in our thinking, because the more rigid structure that we maintain in our thinking, the more imbalanced we are. We have to be like the riverbank. The river needs banks. We need the structure, but we don't want to get trapped in the structure because the structure is not the thing. What's inside of it is what's showing us the way, right? Plant medicine messages are not absolute. They are not literal, and they are not there to bypass your own discernment. The medicine is a mirror and a collaborator and a friend, not a dictator of ultimate truth. The earth is showing us to wait, to allow, to help us rest with the visions and walk with them and cycle them and let them be seasonal and let them be showing us something on the way, always on the way, on the journey. And if we can relate to these divine downloads that we get as messages and inspiration and opportunities and invitations and conversations that are alive, instead of fixed commandments, that's where transformation happens. So if you want to go deeper, you want to learn how to do this, how to trust yourself, trust your intuition, how to walk with the medicine as it's alive in you, to explore your own relationship with the insights that you receive from the plants, to hone your discernment, to integrate with reverence and sovereignty, you can join me inside of Nest. You can join me inside of my one-on-one program. I have a new program that's launching in a couple of weeks. I'm going to start sharing about it soon. Please get on my email list, sinclairfleetwood.com. Go to subscribe. You can get my email newsletter, The Visionary Within. And let's do the work of honoring the mystery together and figuring it out, because it's confusing and weird and a little special. And we're all here to do it together. So thanks for being here, and see you next time.